ashver.com.
Hello and welcome to ashver.com. You are watching an interesting video on prednisone, the background, effects, side effects and how it can change life forever.
Please read the disclaimer carefully.
There is no doubt that prednisone saves lives and probably saved mine. But this prescription steroid, when taken in the long term, produces some effects, side effects and serious complications that may create lifelong problems. Most of the articles I write about medical topics are written from the perspective of a doctor, explaining to others what I know. This one is personal, though. In the last 7 years, since being diagnosed with ulcerative colitis, I spent quite a bit of time as a patient and parts of my story are woven into the fabric of information about this prednisone. Prescriptions of prednisone usually are written for asthma and other lung conditions, autoimmune diseases like rheumatoid arthritis, lupus, inflammatory bowel disease, allergic reactions, skin diseases. Prednisone suppresses the body's immune response and inflammation, allowing relief from symptoms when the immune system is confused, as in my case, or overactive. Prednisone is an catabolic steroid. That means it breaks down body tissue, like muscle and bone, rather than build it up. Anabolic steroids are the type illegally used by bodybuilders and athletes since they have the opposite effect and help build muscle. I was diagnosed with ulcerative colitis in 2003. At first, I had a pretty mild case and used only mild medications to treat it. Ulcerative colitis is an autoimmune disease where the immune system mistakenly attacks the colon. The cause is unknown, but current evidence shows that it's probably a combination of genetic predisposition and an environmental trigger. Along with Crohn's disease, UC is an inflammatory bowel disease. These inflammatory bowel diseases can be life-threatening. They should not be confused with irritable bowel syndrome, an often debilitating condition, which is not life-threatening. When I got pregnant with my first child, the colitis got worse. The mild medications stopped working. Because prednisone was the safest drug for UC during pregnancy, that would work, I started a low-dose regimen. No problem. Unfortunately, the colitis continued to get worse and I started the on and off, up and down cycles of prednisone use. Other medications would only work for a short time or not at all. During my second pregnancy, the colitis became pretty bad. It would improve on prednisone, but nothing else worked. I was requiring quite high doses at this point. Cumulatively, I spent the better part of 2 years on moderately high to high doses of the medication, which is why I ended up with lifelong consequences. Prednisone saved my life, but changed it. While on prednisone, most of the time I felt great. I hoped that after I had my baby, I would improve and get remission. I didn't and needed to continue the prednisone while breastfeeding. Luckily, the mental changes of prednisone means I didn't need much sleep and the manic energy made me quite productive. I would get up before 5 a.m. to exercise. I knew that weight gain was an expected side effect of prednisone and I was determined not to gain weight, so I would just spend time that wouldn't be spent asleep, exercising instead. And with all the energy I had, I would exercise and not gain weight, so that shouldn't be a problem. I worked out 2 hours a day, 4 or more days a week, hard. I realized I was still gaining weight, so I limited my calories to 1,400 per day on non-workout days and 1,550 calories a day on workout days, then cut back further when that didn't work. Surely, I would lose some of the weight and stop gaining. Wrong. I became depressed that my efforts were failing. I gained 20 pounds in a year and the depression never abated. I figured out later that the expected weight gain for the dosage and length of use would be closer to 50 or 60 pounds of weight gain. Still, I found it hard to be happy about only gaining 20 pounds of fat while working out like a maniac and limiting calories in spite of the increased appetite. My face was puffy, my hands were jittery and I was irritable. Exercise saved me here, too. I came to the very unscientific conclusion that prednisone enabled your body to convert even the air you. The list of potential side effects of prednisone exceeds 100 items. Every system in the body is affected. Side effects are possible in anyone taking the medication, but incidence of side effects and complications increases at doses over 10 mg per day and/or a course lasting longer than about 2 weeks. Other than the weight gain, I did have increased energy and a sense of well-being, which is normally not a bad thing. I decided one day that I should change the fan mechanism in my laptop computer, which was almost dead away. This would normally be okay, but in this particular model, the fan was buried under layers of electronics and panels and circuitry. With the prednisone energy, as I called it, I could not be bothered to carefully diagram or photograph where the parts came from. I got the new fan in, but when I got the computer back together, I had over 60 leftover little screws. Yep, 60. No, it didn't. The worst thing I have to deal with as a long-term complication is osteoporosis at the age of 40. This one really upsets me as I already fractured my foot as a result of a minor injury. I like to ski and hike and so on, but now I have to worry that every fall or slip is going to result in a broken bone. I worry about fracturing a hip before I'm 50. Of all the problems I've had with prednisone, this is the one that makes me angry. I remind myself that I really didn't have a choice due to a combination of circumstances, but what a trade-off. I have since had my colon, yep, the whole thing, that's another story, removed to rid me of the colitis, but prednisone is the gift that keeps on giving years after you stop taking. There are so many potential side effects and complications of prednisone that I won't bother listing them here. They can be found in medical books and on medical and pharmaceutical websites. Luckily, most of the side effects resolve shortly after stopping prednisone. These are just a few examples by body system. Neuro, psych, mental status changes such as depression, anxiety, mania, euphoria, nightmares, memory loss and psychosis. Ophthalmic, eyes, blurred vision, cataracts and glaucoma. Cardiac, changes in heart rate, worsening of heart failure, blood clots, high blood pressure. Musculoskeletal, decreased bone density and osteoporosis, avascular necrosis of the hip, muscle breakdown and protein loss. Skin and hair, easy bruising, hair loss, fragile skin, acne, facial hair in women. Endocrine and metabolic, adrenal insufficiency, can lead to death if prednisone is suddenly stopped, instead of being tapered, sodium and water retention, disturbances in potassium, weight gain, glucose intolerance and. Thank you for watching this interesting and informative video. This channel offers motivational, inspirational, valuable and informative videos to soothe, cleanse and inspire your health, mind, body and spirit. You can find a lot of interesting videos on wide range of topics here. Stay tuned and keep watching.